The Maryada that has been given to us, there are so many points. How many of them we follow every day? And how many mistakes we have made since we have taken Amrit? There are so many mistakes, Khalsa ji. We cannot even count the number of mistakes we have made. That is why we should all do the Simran. We should all read Gurbani. That is the only way to make ourselves better people. There is no other way. Moman nahe bikha chutkavat. Vices do not go away from my mind. The similar thing we discussed earlier, right? Bhai Santokh Singh ji is saying, forgive me, Guru Sahib, the vices, the 5 thieves, they do not go away from mine. Lohte hem irandte chandana. With your grace, you transform iron into gold, castor bean or errant tree into sandalwood. Manukate sur tu hi banavat. And you make devtas from human beings. Means you elevate the spiritual stages of human beings to a very upper level. Usually in poetry, tamba means copper. Copper is turned into gold. But here by Santokh Singh ji is turning iron into gold. And the errant tree, right? It does not have the effect of the aroma of sandalwood. By Santokh Singh ji is saying that the Guru is capable of doing impossible things. Errant tree cannot get affected with the aroma of sandalwood. But the Guru Sahib is turning errant tree into sandalwood. Impossible thing, right? So this is the bhavna of Bhai Santokh Singh ji, that my Guru is capable of doing amazing things. My Guru is capable of doing great things. Kabit sundarta sal kar karb visal kar. Your beautiful arms are like the trunk of a child elephant or a small elephant. Means the arms are very big. Kar mat chal tar tur kan toriya. Walking like an insouciant elephant, you have uprooted the tree-like deep roots of the Mughals. Because of the propaganda, Khalsa ji, there are some people who say, India was saved not because of Sikhs. They do not want to include the efforts the Sikh gurus and Sikhs put to save India from the oppression back in 18th century. The truth is, if we look at the history, many invaders who invaded India, they invaded through Punjab because that was the gate through which they entered India. And that was the hub of Sikhs. During the Misl period, right, or during the Sikh kingdom, there was no invasion, and even if it was there, the Sikhs fought with them. We know the invasion of Nadir Shah and other invasions that took place. So once you stop those invasions, right, nobody is going to come through Punjab to enter India, to invade India. Great efforts had been put by Sikhs in the 18th century and 19th century. We should not forget that. I am not saying that Sikhs were the only warriors who were fighting against Mughals. No, there were other people also from different religions. But we cannot ignore the efforts of Sikhs. Second thing is, here by Santokh Singh ji mentioned Kar Mat Chal, means Mast Chal, or Beparwa we can say. We use the word insouciant, right? What this line means that the Guru did not care about other people. In which sense it is talking about is that if there is an army outside, if there are Mughals, or if there are Hindu kings, Guru was not afraid of them. Guru was doing what he wanted to do. He was Vaheguru himself. And on one side, if we say Vaheguru is there cannot be other thing apart from Vaheguru on the other side. So that is why Guru Sahib was must. Guru Sahib was beparwa. It was not like, okay, I am Aurangzeb or some king or emperor and I will make you bow to me. No. The Guru was complete. The Guru was Vaheguru himself. You cannot do that. This is what it meant. Hind avalamb tare pavanid amb sab. All the Hindus who came under your shelter have been liberated from this worldly ocean. Two categories we can include here. We can include those people who adopted Sikhi. We can include those people who were saved by the Guru from the oppression. In the both ways, we can translate it. Dushtan dand har roop gur moriya. By punishing the vicious people, O my Vaheguru in the form of Guru, you have done all these amazing things. Kinkar utar par dijiye didar nij. Now liberate your servant. Which servant? Bhai Santokh Singh Ji is talking about himself. Now liberate me and give your darshan. You have liberated so many people, so many Hindus and so many Muslims and so many Sikhs. Now please liberate me and give me your darshan. This is किन्नी भावना मतलब तुसीं देखो इत्थे भाई संतोख सिंह जी दी. Every day we go to Gurdwara Sahib, sometimes we talk about certain things that we want in our lives. But did we ever say, Guru Sahib, give us your darshan? ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਆ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ. ਇੱਧਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਨਾ ਤੁਰੀਏ. ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵਰਡਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ. ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਰੋਟੀ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਕੱਪੜੇ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ, ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਛੱਤ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ. ਪਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲੀਏ that we need the darshan of the Guru. We need the Brahm Gyan. This is very important. If you are putting the darshan of the Guru or Naam Simran at the first place, you are going to get all the other things that you have at the second or third position. But trust me, if you are putting the worldly desires at the first place, you are not going to get Naam Simran or Brahm Gyan. Always put Sikhi, the Sikh thought, the preaching of Sikh Gurus at the first place. Second, third, fourth place, you can put any worldly desires that you have. And most probably, if you have the desire to have the darshan of Guru Sahib, you will not be having the worldly desires, apart from having clothes to cover your bodies, or a meal to eat, or a roof over your head. These basic things that we need to survive in this world, right? You will be seeking only those things. Lagi tere naal tar choriya sahoriya. Because I am focusing only on your Naam and leaving all the other desires. That is why you should give me your darshan, Guru Sahib. Paryo darbar sabha thav nirtar kar. After deciding, I have left all the other places and come to you. After deciding, what it means is that there is nothing as good a place as the shelter under the Guru. I have considered all the possibilities. I have run through all the courses. But what the Guru is giving, nobody else is giving me. And this line again, Khalsa Ji, it confirms again that Bhai Santokh Singh Ji was a Sikh. He was into Sikhi and he believed only in the Sikh Gurus or Vaheguru. He said, I have come to you, Guru Sahib. Now give me your darshan, Guru Sahib. Kinniyan bentiyan matlab Bhai Santokh Singh Ji is doing. Mukh ke udar tum nam kar joriya. O the liberator, I do namaskar to you by clasping my both hands. These were all the Mangalacharans of the Sikh Gurus, Khalsa Ji. All are completed now. Now Bhai Santokh Singh Ji is going to talk about his Vidyadata. Vidyadata is someone who teaches you. You can say a teacher. But this teacher not only teach you the worldly things, but also the spiritual things which are important to grow in your life. Kabit Nitahi Pagat Rat, who is always in love with devotion. Naam Kino Britta Chitta, whose mind is always drenched in Naam, means there are no other thoughts running in mind, but only Naam Simran. There was a great saint, Khalsa Ji. A person who lived with that saint, he was asked, how was the avastha of that saint? How was the spiritual stage of that saint when it comes to Naam Simran? The person said the spiritual stage of that saint was like fish in water. Water is Naam and fish is like a person, you can say, always drenched in Naam. You are surviving because you are drenched in Naam. Pull the fish out and it will die. We read it in Dehra Sahib also, right? Akha jiva visray mar jao. Akhan okha sacha naam. Everything is there in Gurbani if we read it by listening it. And more importantly, listen to the katha. So many Singhs have done the katha of the Banis of Nitnem. In English also, in Punjabi also. Listen to the katha and then when you read it, right, it will be very effective. So here, by Santokh Singh Ji is saying, my Vidyadata, he is always in devotion, always doing Naam Simran, always drenched in Naam. Santana Sohit At, who loves the Gursikhs, who loves the saints so much. Sant Singh Naam hai. His name is Sant Singh. Who was Sant Singh? We will talk about it after the completion of this kabit. Just remember, the name of Bhai Santokh Singh's Vidyadata was Sant Singh. He is mainly known as Gyani Sant Singh. Gyani is someone, it is a word usually reserved for Sikhs, Sikh preachers, you can say, who talks about Gurbani, who preaches about Gurbani, who does the katha of Gurbani, who has gyan of divinity, who have divine knowledge. He is known as Gyani. Sujan Deyal Tir Dharma Visal Tar. Sujan means Bhai Sant Singh was very friendly. Deyal, he was kind. Tir, he was patient. And he followed the Sikh religion strictly. Jas Bais Bal Hu Te Bhajan So Kam Hai, who always spent his time in devotion since his childhood. That is why I was saying, Khalsa Ji, that from a very young age, we should teach our children about Sikhi. Started from the names of the Sikh Gurus, and then slowly teach them how to read Gurbani. What is Naam Simran? Why Naam Simran is important? Tell them these things, and maybe, who knows, if you are giving good education, if you are having good karma, you might have a person who will transform the lives of other people, who will spread the message of Sikhi. जाके चरणोदक की बूंद में बदन पाए. By seeing my reflection in the water of his feet, there is another translation also of this line, which is Charna Amrit. We say, right, wash the feet and then you will drink that water. Bhai Veer Singh Ji said during the translation of this kabit, the line here is Boond mein badan paye. Boond mein badan paye means the boond means water, you can say. Badan means face or reflection, you can say. So it is reflection in the water rather than water in the mouth. So he translated it in this way. And Charanamrit usually Khalsa ji, it is from the Guru, right? So I think we cannot translate it in this way that Bhai Santokh Singh ji took the Charanamrit of Bhai Sant Singh ji or Gyani Sant Singh ji. सुमत सदन पे ओ कदम विराम है. I means Bhai Santokh Singh ji became the house of great thoughts. Scholar, or you can say diligent and tireless while doing all these writings. I am doing all this writing, I am still tireless. Why? Because I have seen my reflection in the water under the feet of Bhai Sant Singh ji. So this is how great the saints are. And it is not just, you can say, a figurative way of writing it, but it is possible that by sitting with the saints or some kind of miracle might happen, You never know. Some things transform your lives. And let me clear this thing also, because Bhai Veer Singh ji mentioned this. Gyani Sant Singh ji did not teach Bhai Santokh Singh ji the very basic of things like Uda, Eda, Edi. No. Bhai Sant Singh was a great personality, a big personality in Sikhism at that time in the 18th century. Bhai Santokh Singh ji might have learned Uda, Eda, Edi from somewhere else, maybe from his father, right? But the other things about spirituality or Sikhi, the hard things you can say, he learned from Gyani Sant Singh ji. Bhai Santokh Singh ji here also mentioned tireless, right? Kadam Biram hai. He put so many efforts to write these scriptures. If in future we do the Katha of Suraj Prakash, we will see how he traveled into different cities to collect the materials. It was such a huge task, and it wouldn't have been possible, Khalsa ji, for one person to do all these things. But Bhai Santokh Singh ji was a great personality who tirelessly worked on these things to give us what we have now. Although there are some anti-Gurmat things also in the scriptures, but we have answers for them, and we will be seeing them as they come in the scripture. Tanke Arabind Pad Sundar Mukand Dund. His beautiful feet are beautiful like lotus. He clears all the confusions. Or the Namras for liberation was given by him. That, you are a child, okay, now say Vaheguru, 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 say Satnam Vaheguru, why it is important. So all these Gyan was given by him. Here, Bhai Santokh Singh ji mentioned, he cleared all the confusions. Bhai Santokh Singh ji might be having a couple of doubts also, right? So he would go to Gyani Sant Singh ji, ask, okay, these are my questions, like we do these days, right? We have questions about Gurbani, we have questions about Maryada, we have questions about history. We go to scholars, we go to Gyanis, we listen to them, and our doubts get cleared. In the similar way, Bhai Santokh Singh ji might have gone to Bhai Sant Singh ji, asked him the questions that he had, the doubts that he had, and they would have been cleared by Bhai Sant Singh ji. Band kar bandana sada main sukh dham hai. His house of peace. I bow to him by clasping my both hands. This was the Mangalacharan of Vidyadatta of Bhai Santokh Singh ji. In the first part, Bhai Veer Singh ji mentioned about the background of Gyani Sant Singh ji also. So here we are going to read that. At the time of Bhai Mani Singh ji Shaheed, a man named Ramchand was baptized and changed his name to Ram Singh. He spread the message of Sikhi in the world. The preaching was so effective that a Muslim ruler of Multan was infuriated by that, and when Bhai Ram Singh got to know it, he moved to Amritsar. The Muslim ruler gave a job to Bhai Ram Singh's son. His name was Bhai Surat Singh. After some time, Bhai Ram Singh came back to Multan and died there. Bhai Surat Singh left his job and did the religious preaching like his father. The same ruler was infuriated again, but now by the preaching of the son. Bhai Surat Singh left for Amritsar, just like his father. Bhai Surat Singh learned the meaning of the words of Guru Granth Sahib from Bhai Guru Bakhsh Singh, who learned it from Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed. Bhai Surat Singh died in Amritsar. He had two sons, Bhai Gurdas Singh and Bhai Sant Singh. The Vidyadata of Bhai Santokh Singh. Bhai Sant Singh was a warrior and fought alongside Maharaja Ranjit Singh in one of the battles. He helped Maharaja Ranjit Singh at a crucial time, so Maharaja Ranjit Singh really respected him. His brother, Bhai Gurdas Singh, used to do the seva and katha at Darbar Sahib, Amritsar. After his death, Bhai Sant Singh started doing the katha at Darbar Sahib in the evening. It is widely known that Maharaja Ranjit Singh gave the gold for Harmandir Sahib. But very few people know that the work was done under the guidance of Bhai Sant Singh Ji, the Vidyadata of Bhai Santokh Singh Ji. Bhai Sant Singh Ji wrote a scripture on Amrit which is not available these days. He translated Ramayana too in 1951 BC. Here BC means Bikrami calendar, not before Christ, okay? In 1951 BC or 1894 AD, this was published in Lahore in Gurmukhi. 3 years later, it was published in Devanagari Lipi or in Hindi. In 1888 BC or 1831 AD, Bhai Sant Singh Ji completed the Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Bhai Sant Singh Ji died in 1889 BC or 1832 AD. There are some other years also in which the death is supposed to be happened, but Bhai Veer Singh Ji did the analysis based on the work of Bhai Sant Singh Ji and said 1832 is the correct year. So this was Bhai Sant Singh Ji Khalsa Ji. Bhai Sant Singh's father's name was Bhai Surat Singh Ji. He fought in the battle also alongside Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He wrote some scriptures also. And most importantly, Khalsa Ji, he did the Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. There are very, very few people in these times, the times that we are living in, where we can find the people who did the complete discourse of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Very few people. You might have seen the people doing the Katha of the Banis of Nitne, but the complete Katha, very few people did that. So this was about the Vidyadata of Bhai Santokh Singh Ji Khalsa Ji. We will pause the Katha for today. In the next parts, we are going to discuss Guru Mantra and Naam Mahatm. Why Naam is important? What happens to those who do not chant the name of Vaheguru? How the word Vaheguru came into picture? From which words this word was made of? These things we'll be discussing in the next parts. जाके चरणोदक की बूंद में बदन पाए सुमत सदन प्यो कदम विराम है ताके अरविंद पद सुंदर मुकंद धुंद बंद कर बंदना सदा मैं सुख धाम है वाहे गुरु वाहेगुरु 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।